People are saying JHope did a very inappropriate gesture at his concert. We need to talk about that. JHope also had his music believed to be removed from the charts, and then people are saying that they want JHope to leave the label. So Dumplings is saved aside. Let's get into it. So it's pretty common for a lot of people to be very upset at JHope's label and wanting him to leave the label. And of course, a lot of people want the other members to leave the label as well. The label doesn't really have to do anything in particular, but I think a lot of people would just prefer the boys to manage themselves, which you would think would be better, but it's not necessarily the case. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions right now about people being independent. Being an independent artist is hit or miss, and for those who really do really well, they can knock it out of the park. For those who may not necessarily know what to do or what plan of action to take, they can really take their own career and derail it. People are looking at things like Lisa and her success after starting her own label, but one of the things she did differently was she gets to enjoy the perception of an independent label or just being a CEO because it has her name in it and she is running her portion of the label, but she is also really partnering up with a bigger label that is powering her label. And the reason why I say this is because she definitely has built a huge Rolodex of people in Korea. She can literally go to Korea and perform at any stage. However, how did she suddenly get all of these US connections? Of course, that means that she is working with a US company, and they have really been the one that has been able to open those doors for her. Of course, she still has to work hard, which she has. A lot of people want JHope to be independent because they feel like the label is mishandling him. They also believe that he would be able to take care of himself better and push his own career. And I definitely agree to a certain extent. I think he would be really good at it, but I think it would also be very scary for him because unlike Lisa, JHope himself is not well versed in the American market, nor can he really speak English that well to be able to be part of the American market really easily as of right now. So it would be difficult for him. Not impossible, difficult to meet an executive and then get signed to an American record label in that same way that Lisa did. He can find another way, of course, and I think he probably will. But aside from all this, I really want to say that he is being handled correctly at the label, and I think the label is doing their best and doing what they can to really push him everywhere. I don't think the label is doing anything incorrectly, and I think they're really good at their job. I mean, I don't really think the promotions for this period, his concert, all of those things were mishandled. They're great. I love it. Some people were taking moments from some of the behind the scenes stuff that has come out from his recent music videos, and in those videos you can kind of see that he kind of takes charge and really knows and gives his artistic direction. He's not a director fully, but he is giving his thoughts and really kind of pushing something to go in a certain direction that he wants. And hopefully he gets to pick the director to help him with the image he wants.
좀 더 골반 뺐어 내가 방금.
So a lot of people say that he looks like he is in charge, he knows exactly what he wants, and from that reason he should start his own record label. It's not as easy as someone would think to start an agency. Well, of course I believe JHope could do it. I don't think the way it should be based on is if he can direct a music video. I think he's happy with the label that he is in now, first of all, and if he does decide to branch out, I think he would have a lot of success in doing so, regardless of what I just said. Like, I still think he can manage to be in a US market or find another Korean label and just stay in Korea, whatever he wants to do. There was also a moment from one of his concerts that made a lot of people really angry at the BTS community, and I don't personally know how I feel about it, so I definitely want to know what your thoughts are. So obviously people have been going to JHope's concert and they've been bringing signs and cute things to show their love to him, and someone wrote a sign in English. Now I'm pretty sure he could read it and he could understand it, but probably would take him a minute or two. A lot of people believe that he didn't read it or didn't see it, but the sign itself was very controversial because it talked about how apparently JHope doesn't always lead the charts, but leads the community's heart out of darkness, something along those lines. Of course, you can see what the issue is here. Now, I don't personally think that this person had an agenda as to why they did this. I don't think that there was a hater that stuck into the concert just to hold the sign, because it does take a lot of effort to get into a concert venue, potentially pay for the tickets, and then stand there for a few hours holding the sign. And I've seen some concert venues do this, but not all of them. But sometimes the security or whoever will take a look at the sign to make sure that the message is okay. So if that was looked at beforehand and they allowed it through, then there's clearly no issue there. However, it obviously is a controversial thing to say because a lot of people don't want to put this message out there saying that JHope's music doesn't always lead the charts. They want it to appear like he's doing well, and you could still do well without leading the charts. But of course, more than that, they don't want JHope himself to feel less than on stage. And you know, if he reads this, will he feel that way? I don't know. I don't know if he necessarily feels upset about the situation in general, because I think he's definitely aware that he may not always lead the charts. So I don't know if there's anything really there to be upset about when it might be true, right? Like, he's not always on the #1 spot, but of course it's not always good to be reminded of that too. So I totally understand where the backlash is coming from here. But as I said, I don't believe the sign was meant to be something that was attacking him. There was some people who were saying that it's the community's job to stream and to get his song to #1, and I definitely agree, sort of. So if you're someone who cares about that or wants him to be on the charts, then make sure you stream his music, I guess. But of course, this also falls on him a little bit. If the music doesn't do well, it's not always just the community's fault. He definitely has to think of more, maybe creative ways to put out his music. And I personally think it's really good. I actually didn't know the song was not on the charts, and of course, you'll have to tell me if they weren't, because I definitely did see them on there. I don't really keep track of those things, really. I am kind of shocked that they weren't, because the songs are really catchy. I stream Mona Lisa like non-stop. It's the catchiest song right now for me. So hopefully my streams contribute to something. But of course, people are looking for something to be upset about lately, either with the label or with JHope himself. For example, recently at a concert, JHope was showing off a keychain that he had. He named the keychain J, and he made sure to say that during his concert. But the keychain was also dangling in the front of his pants, and I believe it was like a fluffy acorn keychain, like a plush. But it was also skin tone color, so it actually made it a lot worse, because in his hand, the size of it, the color, and then also if you look at it from the side, it looks like he's whipping out a personal body part of his. And I don't really have to go into any details here that are too explicit, but from pictures that may appear a little bit blurry or not as clear, it can appear like a specific body part in his hand. Now, when that hits the internet, a lot of people were being very nasty-minded about it, because obviously in the full clip that you watch, it's quite clear that he's touching his keychain in the clip that you see from the front of it. But if you take the clip out of context and you're showing it just from the side, then it definitely looks like something very inappropriate. And a lot of people were very upset because they were saying that he did this motion in front of a bunch of people who are minors. And they were saying that it was on purpose because he knew exactly where he was placing that keychain and exactly how it would look. Now, first off, this makes zero sense to me, because even if he was trying to do this gesture, it's not sexy. So any artist isn't going to just want to do this. It isn't going to be a selling point for them. And second of all, this angle would be labeled as a PR nightmare rather than something that would be done on purpose. I don't think it was done on purpose, but I do think this has turned into a nightmare. And in the same vein of people underage watching content that is a little bit more explicit, that is something that you can't quite control. There's so many artists nowadays. If you take Sabrina Carpenter, who the majority of her audience is under the age of 18, I believe, and she makes content that I would not say is very PG-13. Yet the community does not react in the same way. While people are upset at Sabrina Carpenter's raunchiness, this is not the argument that they're bringing up. I'm not saying if JHope were to do this and what Sabrina Carpenter is doing is something that I personally approve of minors to watch. But if you're going to have this opinion about one artist, you need to have it for other artists as well. And quite frankly, I love both of them. So I'm not trying to attack one or the other. I'm just saying that the hypocrisy is wild here. And then people saying that he purposely did this so that it would appear like something raunchy makes zero sense to me as well, because where was he supposed to put the keychain? If you were to put it on the back of him near his butt, he couldn't see it, so you would not be able to whip it out and show it. And yeah, it probably is not the best placement for it to be like here, but quite frankly, when you're looking dead on at it, it does not appear like anything bad. And he can't see himself from the side, so he doesn't know that it would appear like that. I mean, the cameraman put it on screen. If they thought it was something that was actually really bad, they definitely would not have shown it on the screen. Like if he had an actual wardrobe malfunction, they would turn the cameras away. People have a wild imagination and they make up problems like this all the time. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out Patreon for more videos. Link down below. Thank you to this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.